Welcome to the Art of Money Podcast with Art McPherson.
And this is the Art of Money Podcast with Art McPherson and Luke McCarty, artofmoneyradio.com for more information on the McPherson Financial Group or to schedule that initial complimentary consultation. We appreciate you listening. Now, let's get to the show. Art McPherson, inflation continues to cool to its lowest level in almost 2 years, but don't expect champagne toast as a new CNBC poll reveals that 70% of adults are stressed about their personal finances, including those who make six figures. I want you to hear this clip from Sharon Epperson.
About a third of high earners say they would need $1 million to really feel financially comfortable. So what would they do if they had a $10,000 windfall? Well, only 12% would invest all of that money in the stock market. About a quarter would stash it in a high-yield savings account, and nearly a third would diversify the money into stocks, bonds, and savings. So keeping at least some money safe seems to be a priority across the board, regardless of income.
So you have a client asking you the same questions, a little stressed about their personal finances. How do you answer those questions?
Well, right now, at least the banks are paying 4.5% if you're in the right type of account. So a year ago, you put your money in a CD, you might have been lucky to get 1.5%. Right now, you can get 4.5%, 5%. So we do have some options that weren't there just a year ago. So fixed money, fixed interest rates are actually paying decent enough that you can actually put money there. And with all the uncertainty going on right now, it's not a bad place to park some money and to park some safe money. So, typically the safe money is money you're trying to put in there that's more liquid. It's money that you might have to use. It's money that you might need to use for your house or a repair bill, something along those lines. So those are usually good spots to park money, getting 4 or 5% kind of rates of return. So I like that right now. We were not using the banks very much the last 10 years. Last time I was able to use fixed interest rates in CDs was really back in 06. In 07, before the whole subprime mortgage meltdown. That's the last time we had rates kind of where they are today. So it is an opportunity, but obviously when you get the money in higher yielding type of accounts that pay good dividends, that also have some upside appreciation in the stock market, things like that, over time, those should outperform. But 5% is not a bad return right now.
So what do you think about the possible recession still coming this summer? We talked a little bit in that last segment about how the inflation number is down. Is that going to cool the talk of a recession, or do you think one's still coming?
No, I think the recession is usually an indicator that we're kind of in the middle of what has happened from the Fed raising rates. One of the things that in this clip she talks about is people are still stressed, right, from feeling the impact of the high prices. So high prices are still here. We see it in our food. We see it in fuel. I was actually in Pennsylvania for that wedding, and while we're up there, they were in the $4 range for unleaded gas. In Florida, it's nice because we're in the $3.50, $3.30 range, but they were all in the fours again. So gas is going back up. Anytime gas goes up about $1 a gallon, it's a huge impact on our GDP output as a country. So it's about a 1% effect on our GDP. So that's a big deal. And when you have a current president that we, got back into the Paris Climate Accord, got back in a lot of these trade deals that Trump had gotten us out of, they're expensive for the United States. We have a lot of tariffs and tax that are placed on us. And as a result, we have a lot of increased pricing. Under Trump, one of the things that he did very well from an economic standpoint is he had a lot of, he called it MAGA, Make America Great Again, or, America First was kind of his agenda, where we saw the wealth effect. So the wage increase under Trump was better than all the way back. You go back to Reagan. He was the last president where we had gone above 4% on wage increases, and we got all the way up to about 7-8%. That's plummeting again. So people are starting to feel that, where they were getting all kinds of great raises, had extra money to do a lot of extra things. Now with all the prices of everything going up, and then now wages beginning to come back down, we're getting squeezed. So the average consumer feels that substantially.
What's your plan for a possible recession that could be coming? We'll talk to Art McPherson and the team of the McPherson Financial Group. Let's put that plan together this weekend. If you've saved at least $500,000 for your retirement, spread across a 401k, IRA, your savings, a pension, it's no cost, no obligation to you. 321-425-8550, artofmoneyradio.com. Art, you said you were in Pennsylvania for a wedding. Did you get a lot of people curious about what it's like living in Florida, having DeSantis as your governor? Because the headlines are always about what this state is up to.
I actually didn't, just because the way that the weekend was, we didn't get a lot of opportunities to do that. So at the wedding, I would normally have had those kind of conversations, but the music was a live band and they were so good and so loud. You could not really have those kind of conversations.
That is awesome.
Yeah, it was.
The music
it was
drowned out the politics.
It did. We had a big party for about 5-6 hours, so we didn't get a chance to have that. So at breakfast and stuff, it was with our good friends anyway, so we kind of know where everybody's from, but we didn't get a chance to mingle a lot with people of Pennsylvania and ask those kind of questions, because normally I will do that just to kind of get a feel, for how Pennsylvania is going versus Florida. I didn't get a chance to do that.
I was out in Vegas after the first of the year for the College Football National Championship. Everybody was like, oh, you're in Georgia. Oh, Governor Kemp, y'all been open. Did y'all even suffer through COVID? Y'all were pretty open the whole time, and people were fascinated by it. Even 3 years removed, people still have all these questions. It's like we're living in a different world down here.
Yeah, well, one of the things that makes a huge difference is, Florida, we were partially closed, but never fully closed. Yeah. And that was only about 6 weeks. And that was a big difference where you have New York or DC, and that's very close to where we were, only a couple hours away. You can be in New York or Washington, DC. And they were closed for a year plus.
321-425-8550. Sorry, I didn't mean to get on a COVID tangent there, but it's fascinating when you travel outside of your home base to see how the rest of the world or rest of the country reacts to your hometown. 321-425-8550. But it's also, that's another reason that Art McPherson lives here, works here, plays here, and loves the state of Florida and knows the economy of Florida as well. Take advantage of that complimentary consultation this weekend. Hey, another conversation you're going to have is, about what investment strategy could work best for you, because in 2022, the strategy of 60% stocks, 40% bonds, had its worst year since 2008. That's because bonds failed to really cushion the blow of stock losses. But Art, this year alone, the 60-40 portfolio has gained almost 6%. So, Art McPherson, is it safe to say that 60-40 is back?
Yeah, yes, because that's the traditional modeling. Bonds are back, which are helping the equation, and also the market is back a little bit for this first quarter. The problem with the market being back at the moment, though, it's a little bit of a false positive. And why I say that is, if you look at the S&P is up pretty nicely for the quarter. However, it's only 20 stocks that are really have the growth. They're up for about 4.5% on those 20 stocks. The rest of the 480 stocks that make up the S&P are only up 0.17%. So it's a very narrow market that is making the market look good. So that means it's not a broad-based recovery, which is always meaning it could change very, very quickly and very, very rapidly. And another thing that's nice about bonds, because we're at the peak of the Fed raising rates now, Mark, bonds should have a really good year this year, regardless of the market performance. So even if the market was to struggle, bonds should rally pretty well, because we should be entering either a flat period of time where rates don't change, don't go up anymore, or a declining interest rate environment where rates begin to start to fall again. And that's always good for bonds. So we would expect bonds over the next year to overperform instead of underperform like last year. We would expect them to be positive.
Could the 60-40 strategy work best for your portfolio? Let's find out this weekend with that complimentary consultation. 321-425-8550. Always online, artofmoneyradio.com. And last Tuesday, you know what that was, Art McPherson?
It was Tax Freedom Day.
Tax Freedom Day. This is the day that the average worker sent their entire paycheck to the government starting on January 1st. April 18th is the day they finally get to start keeping their own money. Art, talk to me about this. Talk to me about tax strategies, Tax Freedom Day. How can we help lower our obligations and maybe shave a few weeks off of Tax Freedom Day?
Well, you know what's sad with what you just said?
What?
You just worked for 4 months. And what that means now is out of a full year's wage, the government is now taking 4 months of that wage from you.
A little harsh reality, a little hard truth this weekend here on The Art of Money, and I don't like it.
So they are pretty arrogant, if you ask me. Mm-hmm. That is a lot of money to take from people to provide services that I don't feel like we get anymore. It used to be it went to roads and bridges and those kind of things for the country for our benefit. But now we're doing things like sending $120 million to Ukraine for their border, but we won't finish the wall on our border. Right. There's just weird things that happen at times. So sometimes I wonder how the American dollar is being spent. It seems like there's lots of ways it gets spent incorrectly. I saw there's some lawsuits being filed recently for all of the health care that's being provided for the illegal immigrants that are coming in right now. So tax dollars have to go to that, when we're doing that for someone who came in our border illegally, but yet now we're going to provide health care for them and their kids and all kinds of things like that. That's a huge drain on our resources here. And Mark had 4 months of his income taken away so that we could do that.
But it goes back to the importance of having that tax strategy, Art McPherson, and with the help of the in-house CPA, Mark Bernard. I know he's been pretty busy for the past 6-8 weeks, but you need to have a tax strategy all year round.
Yeah, right now he's stuck doing returns. So, that is basically making sure you are filing correctly and have your information done correctly. So what you're supposed to pay, you're paying, and that is not tax planning. That's just, tax preparation. So this is our preparation month, making sure everybody's in compliance. But then he goes to work on preparing for next year. How can we make changes for our clients to minimize? So instead of them having 4 months of that tax revenue taken away, is there anything they can do in their savings or in their spending? Can we change the way we're doing things to help reduce that tax burden? So as an example, a lot of people will have funds and mutual funds, and they don't know that they can do the same thing in an ETF. Well, a mutual fund will have no benefit on capital gains and dividends. Whenever those are distributed, you have to pay tax on them every year. Where an ETF can defer those capital gains and dividends until you use them. So it can make a big difference on a tax return, because if you're not using the money and you're not spending it, why do you have to pay tax on it, right? Mm-hmm. So, and especially if it adds on top of all your other income that you have coming in the door. So we will do all kinds of strategies around, reducing that tax bite. Because if I can get you in a perfect situation, Mark, when you hit retirement, instead of 4 months being taken out for the tax man, how would you like to have all that income that you got out that year and zero go to the tax man?
That would be nice. I'll take it all day. That's the importance of having that tax strategy. And when you work with Art McPherson, that also includes conversations with in-house CPA Mark Bernard, all part of the team at the McPherson Financial Group. 321-425-8550, artofmoneyradio.com. All right, so we're working on tax strategies. What happens if we're in a contract with an annuity? Now, we know Art McPherson, we talk about it a lot here on the Art of Money. An annuity is an insurance contract, an opportunity for some guaranteed income in retirement, but they're not all the same. So if somebody comes to you with annuity buyer's remorse, is there anything you can do about that?
Sure. So an annuity a lot of times will have what we call a surrender charge. So if you've invested $100,000 in an annuity, it will have a surrender charge schedule in it. So you might have to keep it in there for 10 years or else they're going to charge you a fee. However, most annuities have a provision where you can do free withdrawals. So if you have a heavy surrender charge on your product and you're not happy with it, maybe it was a product you bought 2 or 3 years ago when interest rates were really low and it's making very poor interest and you want to get out of it now, well, you can calculate, what would that fee be? Or you can start moving 10% per year, and some annuities will let you do 15 or even up to 20% per year. And if you can do that, then you can, over a 5-year period, maybe get half your money out or even 100% of your money out with no fee, or you may have a surrender schedule that actually goes beyond that point. So we will take a look at that, and if somebody's in a product that they don't like, and if it's a product that's very long-term, there are ways to get around that if you need to have access to funds and resources or trying to improve your performance.
So when you schedule that initial consultation, you sit down with Art McPherson, you're going to go over your portfolio, take a deep dive, but that includes an annuity x-ray. So if you have an annuity and you wonder, is this really working for me? Is there better options out there? Well, that's the annuity x-ray from Art McPherson, 321-425-8550. And this weekend, if you've saved that $500,000, that could be through a pension, a 401k, a savings, an IRA, that consultation, no cost, no obligation to you. 321-425-8550. You've been working your whole life to get to retirement. Think about the difference that 1 hour can make with the conversation with Art McPherson, artofmoneyradio.com. And I know you do a lot of work in the community with our police, fire, EMTs. You're very proud. The McPherson Financial Group, big supporters of our LEOs.
Absolutely. We love our fire and rescue. I've got several firemen and several police officers, and they are the backbone of our society, right? They're the ones that keep us safe, make sure that when somebody gets in an accident, it gets cleaned up and everybody gets it filed properly. And we don't have jammed up highways, and then also keep us safe. You know, there's a lot of things that can happen with crime, and people get frustrated with one another, and they're either stealing from each other or they're trying to get more aggressive and violent. You know, so we need our police force out there protecting us. And right now, those guys risk their lives more than normal.
Yeah.
So I cherish them. I've had several police officers retire that are clients of ours, and I was nervous the last 5 years. I wanted to make sure they got to retirement and didn't end up getting hurt on the job, because it is definitely a more difficult environment the last 5 years than it was the prior 5.
Yeah, and Art said before, there are some special opportunities out there for our police officers, our fire, our EMTs. Give the team a call, 321-425-8550, to have those discussions. But when an officer on the beat, when they retire, they often radio in one final time to dispatch what's referenced to as their last call. In the case of Officer Brian Berrigan, this was delivered to him by his son, Dean, who was also on the force.
Today you receive many thanks. The department thanks you. The people whose lives you have protected and served thank you. And I thank you for being the best role model a son could ask for. Retirement is the end of something great, but the start of something better. Retirement doesn't mean you're gone. Officer Berrigan, badge number 299. Dad, you have safely reached the finish line.
Safely reached the finish line. Exactly.
So talk to me, Art McPherson, the reaction from clients when you tell them retirement is the start of something better.
It is absolutely true. So all those things that you want to do, Mark, when we get together, which are usually golf related events, you can actually do, because Luke says every day's a Saturday now, right? Mm-hmm. So in retirement, you can see those grandkids, you can see those kids, and you can make trips and travel and do all kinds of things. The biggest trouble you're going to have is if you want to do something with friends or relatives that are still working. They can't take the time off that you can. And so sometimes it's hard to find a group of friends, you know, unless you retire together, where you can travel together, do like an RV trip cross country. I got a lot of clients that have done that. I've got just all kinds of great, fantastic trips that our clients do, sometimes on motorcycles, sometimes in RVs, just beautiful, beautiful trips seeing this country. And sometimes it's doing expeditions where they're doing things across the globe. And it's just amazing what our clients do. But retirement is supposed to be a time for you to be able to do some of those wonderful things you've always wanted to do. And I actually have a few clients, Mark, that actually start new careers and open a business for themselves. They think of it as a hobby originally, and they're doing it to stay busy. I have a gal right now that's making stained glass.
Nice.
And I'll tell you what, if this woman wants to, I don't know how hard she wants to work, but this stuff you're going to see in some of amazing places, because she has got quite a gift.
It's almost like she found her true calling after she retired.
Right, because now money's not an object, because you have your financial freedom, so you're no longer dependent on work for income.
Yeah.
And then now you can do kind of some of those things you've always loved to do, whether it's art, you know, and you're wanting to paint or you're wanting to be creative. To me, I see people the happiest when they're being creative, or they're doing a lot of activity, whether it's hiking, sports, some kind of outside activity. Got a lot of our clients play pickleball. A lot of our clients do a lot of active things. A lot of our clients sail. A lot of our clients play golf and love it. You know, they're out there playing 4 or 5 days a week. I have a new client that's coming in, and his wife plays like 5 days a week. And I ask him, because he only plays on the weekends, I said, does she make you jealous when she's always coming in and playing golf? He's like, a little bit. Yeah.
You said something there about, I'm retired, but all my buddies are not, so I've got to find a new group. I've realized that, Art McPherson, you have a lot of great client events where you take your clients out to the ball games, take them to the movies, golfing events, pickleball events. Those are essentially retirement play dates where you can meet other retirees and maybe form new friendships so you can have somebody else to join your foursome to play a round of golf.
Yeah, absolutely. So that people that have retired can forge some new friendships. Matter of fact, we have a group going to Scotland next year, and they are all retired, and they have become really good friends, a part of our group, and they're all going together. So it's a group of about 12 people. They're going to go over to Scotland, and it's because of their friendships they developed here at McPherson Financial Group.
321-425-8550. The journey begins with the phone call to Art McPherson and the team at the McPherson Financial Group to sit down and put that plan together. And this weekend, maybe you have a big box advisor, but you haven't heard from them. Well, there's nothing wrong with getting a second opinion. And Art McPherson, Luke McCarty, and the entire team, they want to offer that second opinion at no cost or obligation. 321-425-8550, artofmoneyradio.com.
Thanks for listening. Want more from Art McPherson of McPherson Financial Group? Find us online at artofmoneyradio.com.
We are an independent financial services firm helping individuals create retirement strategies using a variety of financial and insurance products to custom suit their needs and objectives. Securities offered through World Equity Group, Inc., member FINRA and SIPC, a registered investment advisor. Investment advisory services offered through ProStatus Group, LLC. McPherson Financial Group and ProStatus Group, LLC are separate entities and are not owned or controlled by World Equity Group, Inc. Exposure to ideas and financial vehicles discussed should not be considered investment advice or recommendation to buy or sell any financial vehicle. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. Investments can fluctuate and when redeemed may be worth more or less than when originally invested. Investment financial professionals are not licensed in all 50 states. Art McPherson is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency and does not provide legal or tax advice. Please consult with your attorney, accountant, and or tax advisor for advice concerning your particular circumstances. Annuity guarantees rely solely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance and annuity products offered through Arthur McPherson. Florida Insurance License number A174. 725.
Today's show has been a work of art.